We're back for the year. This is the Hands-On Gaming Podcast, episode 10. And I'm one of your hosts, Daz. And with me, as always, my good friend, Brendan. How are you, mate?
Very good. And you?
Doing good. A bit rusty, man. It's been like 2 months, so...
2 months.
It's a bit rough. And I'm tired as usual. It's, for me, it's Sunday morning.
Yeah, that's the usual for you.
Sleepy Daz.
Yeah, Sleepy Daz.
Yeah.
What would an episode be without it?
Sleepy Daz. I know, huh? I know. Yeah. How have you been? Have you been well?
Yeah, I've been pretty good. It's been busy. The whole holiday season's over now. Now it's getting back to normal a little bit.
Yeah, it's settled.
Just making lots of videos as usual.
Mate, you're a machine. I don't know how you do it. It's insane.
I don't know how I do it either.
Got this idea. I've got this idea. I got this idea. It doesn't stop.
I've got a million ideas.
It's paid off, man. You're doing really well.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks.
So yes, it's the first one for the year. So I'm pretty rapt about that. I've been getting bored waiting. So hopefully you guys weren't bored as well. But it's I'm quite excited, and what I'm really excited about is that we have a guest all the way from the UK. We have Dave from Rose Tinted Spectrum.
Hello.
How you going, mate?
I'm all right. How are you? Oh, you've already answered that question.
Yeah, I'm tired, man.
A silly question to ask. No, we're all tired. We're all tired.
Yeah, our time zones are all over the joint. So
yeah. This is my bedtime.
Yeah, what time is it for you at the moment? About what, 10?
It's 9:10. 9:10.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah,
that's early. Come on.
It's fine. I need my beauty sleep.
Yeah.
That's why I sleep for 12 hours a day.
So, all right, before we get into anything, though, Dave, would you like to talk about your YouTube channel and what you do, etc.?
Okay. What do I do? That's a good question. It's a mixture of things. I try to go with a comedy angle on retro gaming as a whole, folded in a few bits and pieces of indie gaming, but also TV and some film, and it's all kind of gotten out of hand, to be honest. But most of the time, I focus on the ZX Spectrum, everyone's favourite computer, as I heard from the previous episodes.
Yeah, Brendan loves the Specky.
I love the Specky.
No, look, to be honest, I have a soft spot for it. I mean, it was never released here, but I do have a soft spot. I've got a Spectrum Next coming, hopefully, this year. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, same. Waiting for one myself. Yeah. Who knows if it'll ever turn up? But yeah, it's a YouTube channel dedicated to getting annoyed by retro games on the ZX Spectrum, effectively.
I think it's great because you play games I've never heard of, and they look absolutely crap. But you make it so entertaining, and I like it because you're very dry.
Yes.
The way it's just dry. There's no expression, and it cracks me up. But I have to admit, what was that game that surprised me? And I still have yet to try it. That Minesweeper game. That actually looked pretty good.
Yes. Yeah. It did. Well, what is it called? Mind Out. That's the one. So it's basically, it's Minesweeper, but you are in the minefield, and that's literally it. But it came out before Minesweeper. That's the amazing thing. The fact that the guy had kind of done it way before Microsoft got their filthy mitts on the Minesweeper brand. But yeah, it's interesting going back, because obviously these games are stuff I haven't played since I was like 6, 7, 8. So it's nice going back to them with the memories of them, and trying to be firm but fair is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
It's difficult because some stuff, obviously, especially for the ZX Spectrum, people were just making this stuff in the bedroom, and they had no reference.
No testers.
Nothing at all. So they were just kind of putting them out there in the vague hope that they might be successful in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think that's for most of the 8-bit computers, especially the European ones at that time.
Yes. Spain and their insane difficulty levels, for example.
Dynamics
Spain,
games.
Oh yeah, they were just so remorseless. They just absolutely ruined you. But that's the Spaniards just love to hate people.
Game over.
Yeah.
Freddy hardest. Wow.
Yeah.
Nice man. Yeah. So look, I have to say, you got me really keen for your videos. I can't remember which one it was. I was like, because I used to see your name around Twitter, and I'm like, okay, Spectrum, okay, because I'm into that stuff. And I can't remember what video it was that got me onto your stuff, but it was funny. It was way back now, but anyway, remember, I'm still sleeping, so I can't really remember. So how professional is that?
Oh, you sound like everyone who watches my videos.
Yeah. No, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff, and I do really enjoy it. That's why I reached out. So,
no, it's good to be here.
Cool, man. Okay, well, the game that was chosen by the Twitter public was Treasure Island Dizzy. And and I have to be honest, I threw this in. I mean, I only played it a couple of times a few years ago, and I didn't realize how hard this bloody game was. I should have picked another Dizzy game. Damn. I mean,
I was surprised that this one got picked, especially on all the heavy hitters we had on that list.
Yeah, I guess we had impossible mission. Yeah.
It's the drawer of the egg. Yeah. Everyone loves that egg.
Yeah, everyone likes a bit of egg. The Dizzy series is quite popular. I think it's very nostalgic for a lot of people, especially in the UK.
Yeah,
like I had a few versions of it or different parts of it back in the day here, but it wasn't one that you'd see in the stores in Australia. It was funny enough. But anyway, let's talk about the game. Just a note that all this info is all from yolkfolk.com. That's an amazing site. You want anything.
It was a good accent.
I wasn't even trying. Yolkfolk. Jeez. Yolkfolk. You want anything Dizzy, go to there. It's amazing. And it just made my job so much easier. So I'm just going to read some of just a couple of paragraphs from the site regarding this game, because there was no point in me really just writing it myself because it was perfectly said here. So credit to that website. Well, the game was created by the Oliver twins and published by Codemasters. Treasure Island Dizzy was written for the ZX Spectrum and Amstrad CPC using an updated version of the game engine from the original Dizzy, and a world editor that the Olivers had also written, which was quite cool. I didn't realize that they would have put the game together like that. Originally, it was going to be called Dizzy 2, but they eventually took motivation from naming it of James Bond series and decided to name it Treasure Island Dizzy, aiming to make it clearer that the game was a separate standalone experience that you could be enjoyed without having played the original. I like that it's got separate titles. I mean, it's hard to to say which one's part 1, part 2, but I don't think that really matters. But one of the problems they encountered during development was that it was possible to put the game into an unwinnable state. I think it still is. if you don't know what you're doing. When the player has lost a life, they respawn, effectively being brought back to life in a safe location. One of the game's items was a snorkel that was required to move underwater, and the twins found that it was possible such a way that the snorkel was completely inaccessible, either under or across the water. Being unable to think of any solution for the time of release, they made the decision to give the player only one life. This removed the logic problem, but also gave the game a reputation of the series' most difficult incarnation. I think that was just, if only they just waited a bit more and just fixed that.
Yeah, that's just the stupidest idea.
I mean, you've got those unfair, what's it called? Those cages that drop out of nowhere. I mean, that's really cheap.
Terrible. Yeah,
it's really cheap. And it's like you mentioned, Dave, in your last video with the torches in.
Yeah.
It's just cheap. Why would you do that?
It's even worse in this because literally one tiny miss because there's no energy bar. That's it, right? Yeah. Time to start again.
That's right. So this is brutal. Thanks, Oliver Twins. great guys, by the way. Great guys. They're awesome. Okay. Well, that's it. Pretty much it. Yeah. That's the game. So we'll get into it. Okay. Which version should we start with? I can either start with the Spectrum or the Amstrad. Which one? Which one do you think?
Let's start with the original.
Yeah.
Specky?
Yeah.
All right. Well, who else to start with that than Dave, hey?
Exactly.
I personally, for me, it's the most natural looking Dizzy because it's the one that I grew up with. So every other version I've played has just constantly made me think this looks weird and I hate it. But I persevered with all of them, I will say. But it feels right. It looks right. The color clash makes Dizzy look like a chameleon. It's a thing of beauty, and I'm not biased in any way. But in terms of how it plays, it just feels like it was made for the Spectrum. And it was only in the past few years that I found out it wasn't even made on a Spectrum. So I was quite amazed by that, especially looking at the system from whence it came. But for me, I don't know, everything about it, aside from, obviously the sound isn't quite as good as other versions, but it's the Spectrum, so I've come to expect that of literally everything that comes out on ZX Spectrum. It's for me the most natural home of Dizzy, and I can't shake that feeling, unfortunately.
Let's say you weren't a big fan of the music. I think look, I've got a sample here.
No, I think the music sounds great, but
there we go. That's really nice. That's really cool.
It is.
Yeah.
So, it's got a lovely tropical lilt to it.
It does, yeah.
It's I was just surprised with one of the other versions because I thought, obviously, as I say, going into it, I was like, everything else is unnatural to me, but there is one version where I probably couldn't help but say the music and sound effects are better on that one. But the Spectrum version, I could whistle that song all day long.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way.
It makes you want to drink a gin and orange juice, doesn't it?
It's got a good old pirate lilt to it.
Yeah. Did you play it a lot back in the day, like originally?
Yes. So this was I literally played them in order. I had the original Dizzy first, and then Treasure Island Dizzy, which brought many a tear to my eye because it's unnecessarily difficult. For finding out as well that it was all just because the Oliver twins couldn't be bothered to think of a way to resolve the life issue. It's when you said that this one had come out top, I kind of, as soon as you put that list out on Twitter, I kind of knew it would do, because this was a lot of people's first Dizzy game for some reason. They skipped the first, and Treasure Island Dizzy was certainly for the ZX Spectrum their first. And I've had a load of people message me when I've said I'm going on the podcast to talk about this. All of them have said, "Oh, that was my first Dizzy game." So I don't know. The marketing obviously worked for calling it Treasure Island Dizzy rather than Dizzy 2, because it does seem to be everyone's
more appealing. It sounds more appealing. I think it rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah.
Brendan.
Yeah, so I just messed around with this game back in the day. I never played it a lot. This was actually the first Dizzy game I also played, so I never played the original. So this was on one of my many Dodgy Dave bootleg discs. So
he hung around here with that too. Yeah.
when I originally loaded that game up, I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I enjoyed it. I played a few other of the random Dizzy games, but nothing. I never really got into the series hardcore, so it was always just casually messing around. But this one was probably the one I played the most. And this Spectrum version, and this is coming from a C64 guy. This Spectrum version is pretty good. I like it. It plays well. It like you said, it does feel like it is a Spectrum game. It feels like this is where it was created. You can always feel, like where the original one is.
Yeah.
It's just got something about it. I mean, the color clash does bother me.
Oh, you're funny.
It's like all over the place, but whatever. I can deal with that. It plays well though. Very responsive. It moves at a good pace. The music was really, really surprising because we've been looking at a lot of versions of games, and
fart
the
noises.
spec is it's always at the bottom of the list when it comes to the sound. It's just like oh my god. But no, the music is really good. I think it was by David Whittaker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, he cracked out some good tunes. So it just shows you what like a real musician can do when they even on a system like the Specky, you can make it like sound really good.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I know. Hey.
No, it's true though. I mean, it is
true.
the Spectrum's downfall is the sound. You only have to look at Whizball between the two to tell the difference there.
Yeah, so this one was pretty good. I mean, this game's hard, man. Wow.
But
I didn't get too far.
Though. But somehow addictive.
Yeah.
It's strange.
It is strangely
going.
addictive.
Yeah.
I did keep on just restarting and getting a little bit further each time. So I mean, it is. It's got a strange addictiveness to it.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, I thought the presentation was good.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, jeez. Oh, I noticed that. Yeah, one of the you can tell one of the Oliver twins. Just because it actually says the name of the game when the title screen loads up. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Like I say, I liked the AY chip music. I thought that was great. Controls were tight. Like the controls are just perfect, absolutely perfect. Graphics are okay, typical specky. Color clash is pretty brutal on the eyes for me, but I did get used to it. But yeah, I got nothing else to say. I think it's a fantastic version. I can see it. Can tell Dizzy belongs on the Spectrum. It's just, even though it was made initially for the CPC, it's a Spectrum. I think it belongs. It's just the Spectrum game.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way for me.
Yeah, and that's coming from because like I said, I played Dizzy games back in the day on the C64, but I wouldn't know which one I played. Because they don't seem that much. The one that sticks into mind, Dave, you probably would know which one. The one that I know I used to play the most was you start off in a room and you need to set the door on fire to get out or something.
Fantasyland.
Yeah, I probably played that one the most. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was hard to differentiate which one was what.
Yeah,
it was a game that I would play. I would play for a little bit, then I'll just go on to something from System 3 or something. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way I was. But no, overall, I think this is a great port, and if I was to go back to play a Dizzy this game, it'll be this one or another port. So, yeah, no, good stuff. So, okay, well, that's a good one for the Specky. Okay, we'll go for the CPC. I'll start with this. Hey, going into this, I thought, okay, this is going to be perfect. It'll be like the Specky version, yeah? A presentation, had the same title screen, had the speech as well. Colors are different to the Specky with no color clash, but choice of colors for Dizzy is debatable.
Yeah.
He looks like a skull or a zombie. It just looks wrong.
It looks weird. It
looks very, very strange. But what I found what the main drawback was, and it grinded on me, was the audio would slow down when you do things in the game, like jumping. I mean, like really. I mean, here. Oh,
painful.
It's like I'm a drummer, so that kills me. It's like running your fingers down the blackboard, and that's enough
try and
to
keep time to that.
it's like it's enough for me to turn it off. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. It just made me want to turn it off, pretty much. Look, besides that, the game screen seemed to be identical to the Specky version, but overall, I'd stay away from this one. I thought it was that really just screwed it up for me, because even the way he jumps, like when it slows down, it actually slows the game down. All it's just everything slows down. It's a split screen game. I was going to swear then. It's a split screen game. Like, come on, really? Come on. I mean, the Amstrad can do better than that. I know it can. And to think that it was made firstly on that computer, and it's like that, I don't understand. I don't get it.
It's weird.
Well, that's me. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, I'll have a shot at it. Yeah, so I thought also the graphics, like when I started it, I thought, this looks like the same as the Specky. No color clash. I thought the graphics were more detailed. There's definitely more detail there in everything. Dizzy does look a bit weird, definitely. But the music was good. Unfortunately, like you said, the slowdown is super annoying. And when it affects the gameplay, that's when it's like, it's kind of unacceptable.
Yeah.
I actually like slowdown in games. I've already mentioned this, and Daz is questionable about it. Like Double Dragon.
Double Dragon's different. Double Dragon, yes.
It gives it its charm,
Yeah,
and there's certain other games where slowdown and art have no issue, but this one, it actually affects like the way you jump. Like it just throws you for a loop, especially some of those when you're climbing up those tree parts and you have to like jump right at the edge, and then this thing goes into like some sort of slowdown effect. Yeah, it's not very good. This was probably the version that I liked the least, if I remember correctly, all the ones that I played. So definitely I wouldn't recommend this one. You should rather play the Spectrum one. And this is coming from a C64 guy that's saying you should go play the Spectrum one.
I think he's converting here.
Hey. Yeah. Those are fighting words.
His channel's called 64K. It's going to be called like Spectrum K or something.
Over my dead body.
Changing sides.
Dave?
Yeah, no, it's.
Are you done? Sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I my notes just say, why does Dizzy look ill?
He's got COVID.
It's just very odd. Like, I don't understand what the green is supposed to represent, because why wouldn't you just make him white? The whole thing white. I don't get it.
Exactly.
That was the one thing that stood out to me. It made me feel ill looking at Dizzy from start to finish. It's pretty much exactly the same as the Specky version, but the one thing I noted was the slowdown is just weird and unnecessary, considering it was designed for this. I really don't know what was going on. Yeah. The one positive I will say, though, over the Spectrum version, certainly, is dropping items, you don't lose them in the color clash. They actually stand out from the background, because when you've played Treasure Island Dizzy as many times as I have, the amount of times you just lose an item behind a tree for the next 2 hours while you're walking back and forth trying to remember where you put it, you don't get that on this. So that is one benefit over the Spectrum version, is that at least it's a bit clearer to find the things that you actually need to complete the game. Outside that, this is probably my least favorite version as well, and it is just down to that weird slowdown for whatever reason that occurs. I do find it funny that this is a game that the Oliver twins have absolutely plastered with adverts for their other games as well. So this is not a great advert, mate. Like, maybe take those out. But yeah, it's an unfortunate one, I think.
Oh, well, that's a no-no. I'm glad we're off that one now. Brendan, you start, mate. C64. Go for it.
C64, okay. Yeah, so like I said earlier, this was the first one I played, and I used to always come back to it. I played it quite often, not a lot. I didn't get super far into it. But yeah, I always came back to this game, and I enjoyed it. It's a fun little adventure. The music in this one, I liked it. Obviously, Sid music, it's pumping. I don't know whether I'd say it's the best out of all these versions.
I'll play it now. I'll play it.
Yeah, yeah.
You had a rave.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got that really pumping, Sid
Yeah.
kind of sound. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, to say which score is the best, they all sound really good, to be honest. So it's just,
Except for Amstrad.
obviously, yeah, forget that one. But so the graphics are, that's pretty much it's very similar to the Spectrum. You can tell it's been like a port, except it's not as like brightly colored. Obviously, it's a little bit more muted. It plays smoothly. Yeah, a little bit of brown there.
Yeah.
It plays smoothly though, and I had fun with it. Despite the cheap deaths every 5 minutes, and yeah, I think it's a good version. I had no real issue with it. It's just well rounded, and that's try not to be
Well rounded.
yeah. Poor attempt at a joke,
yeah.
but yeah, that's all I got to say about that one.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you, man. Look, it's got the same title screen, but there's no speech in this one, which is stupid because it's got this chip.
Yeah.
Cracking music. Controls are fine. You know what disappointed me is that the graphics should have just been redone. I mean, it could have been done make it look like I wouldn't say the NES version, but something like the Amiga. It could be done, not as crisp, but they could have solid colors in there, and that kind of puts me off. But it is like the Specky with no color clash. I felt the game did run a little bit faster than the others, but I got used to it quite quickly. I found the traps were a little more unforgiving in this version.
Yes. Thank you.
I don't know why. But that was very frustrating. It's very frustrating. Look, it's a good port, but I think it could have been better. It's not horrible. It's not one I would go back to now. I would preferably rather play the Spectrum version or another version than this. Besides, look, the thing that stands out for me in this version is probably the music. Everything else it's okay. It's not bad, but there's better versions out there. But yeah, those traps, man, it was just for some reason, I don't know why, but it was just very, very unforgiving. That's me.
Yes, I'm glad you said that because that was one of my bigger notes on this. Is that the hit detection on those traps seems to be far less lenient. I think you can land and roll just on the edges of the trap in the other versions. On this, if you are within that parameter, it just pauses the entire game and brings the trap down, and you are gone, which is not ideal in a game that is this difficult anyway. One of the things that I did, I mean, this is the version that I put down, is probably the contender for the best track. That's a difficult thing for me to say simply because I'm so used to that Spectrum version. But I like the depth of that SID chip, and it's not something I hear that often, as you can imagine. So it's nice to hear that same track but pumped up a bit, and the weird solo that goes throughout.
There's a lot of layers in there. It's a lot of layers. Yeah.
It's a nice version of the track. So I was happy with that. The one thing that I have on this game that I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but it doesn't quite work properly. And it's to do with the way that the physics engine is working. I think because I've had to redo Dizzy as a whole. It's built on the same. Obviously, the levels are still exactly the same layout, but the way Dizzy moves isn't the same. And what I found was you could accidentally jump into sections you shouldn't be able to jump into. So, as an example, toward the start of the game in the treehouse, you're supposed to go up on a different platform and knock a switch to bring a platform down.
Okay.
However, in this version, you can jump through the platform and hit the switch, which doesn't happen on any of the other versions, and I'm guessing it's something to do with the hit detection on the sprite. But I was finding myself jumping through platforms and getting to areas that are supposed to be later on, which I found a bit odd. And I'm not sure how that's happened, but it doesn't seem to be that Dizzy is working the same, but he's in the same place, if that makes sense.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
So that's broken. The thing that I found.
So the game's broken.
Effectively, it's a little bit broken. I suppose it's a little bit easier because you can bypass certain sections, but it was completely by accident that I found it, and then I managed to do it a couple of times. I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here yet. And it's a little odd in that way. But again, this is just because I played so much of the Spectrum version. I'm used to how that one plays. So yeah, it's a bit disappointing to see that I managed to find these errors in such a small amount of time playing it, and they obviously weren't picked up. So yeah, it's definitely better than the Amstrad version for me, but it doesn't feel right. There's something off about it, we'll say.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That's cool that you figured that out because seeing that Brendan and I probably are not the biggest Dizzy fans, or we never played as much as you. It's good that you've found these little quirky things that have happened in these versions. So yeah, you're probably perfect to do this review with us. So that's quite cool.
Clearly, Codemasters didn't have any playtesters.
No.
Like, screw that part. Let's just release it.
All right, we'll stay with 8-bit. We'll go to the NES version, hey? And then we'll go to the 16-bit computers. I'll go first. Wow, I was expecting a lot out of this, but this is pretty bad, I think. Look, the graphics were okay, but the colors were just very dull. It just didn't feel right to me. The use of two buttons is great. That's probably the best thing about it. Music is very Nintendo, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's like someone's got a Black & Decker drill in my ear, and
that's like most Nintendo music.
Look, it's an acquired taste. Yeah, like, I think it's sometimes it can be really good, but there's no. This is the C64 version, and you listen to that, it's like there's no heart in it.
Yeah,
there's no depth.
No depth, nothing. It's just boring. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know if you guys see it the same way, but it's like seeing a Euro game, Euro or English centric game on a Nintendo console just doesn't feel right.
No,
it just doesn't.
It's weird.
It's just strange. It's always weird.
It's not right. Look, it's not the worst supports. I just think it's just rushed to make a quick buck. You know what I mean? It could have been as good as the 16-bit versions, I think, if they really tried. Yeah. It could have accomplished. It could have accomplished what the ST or Amiga did. I think there's enough colors there. The music, the audio chip in there is capable of doing better, but you can tell it's just like, it's just we need 4 games because this came out on the Quattro pack.
Yes.
So let's just chuck that on there and just put graphics, like there's no detail. It's just it's
very flat.
It's very flat and lazy. Look, I mean, if you lived in the States and you've never played Dizzy before, I don't know how you would have perceived this, to be honest, because a lot of people in the US weren't in tune with the European computer scene. I mean, thankfully in Australia we adopted that because of the PAL, because we use PAL as well. Whatever you guys had in the UK, we had it straight away. It was great. But yeah, I'm glad we adopted that end of gaming because we did. There was no crash for us or anything like that.
No.
There was no video game crash. That didn't exist. So anyway, I'm waffling on. I wouldn't bother with this. If anyone wants to try it, maybe try it out of curiosity, but it's not something that you would load up on the NES. Just stick to Mario Brothers 2 or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who wants to go next? Dave, you go, Dave.
I don't have a huge amount of notes on this.
Yep.
What I will say is it really, really annoyed me that they bothered to effectively change the entire game. All of the puzzles and stuff have been moved around. Different items are there. Things have changed massively, and they still only give you one life. Why did they not fix it? It was the one thing that everyone always says about the original is it's, people loved it, but it's so harsh to just have one life. And I just can't see any reason why they didn't implement that, especially when it's going out, as you say, to the States. They won't have played the original. So it seems like a massive missed opportunity as far as I'm concerned to just keep that one life system, because by this point they will have rebuilt everything. So there is no reason to keep it.
That's correct. Yes.
I just don't get it. I do like certain changes, like that puzzle that I mentioned earlier, where you flick it. Well, it's supposed to be that you're flicking a switch, but it looks like you're kicking a stone across the floor to lower the platform. Oh, is that what
that is?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just part of the scenery.
Yeah, no, it's a very strange solution. I'll do that in inverted commas. In this one, you get a weight that you attach to a hook, and it lowers the platform. See, stuff like that. Very nice. Makes more sense than kicking a stone. But I mean, yeah, I'm pretty much on board with you. It's a Euro game. It feels weird seeing it on the NES, and I don't know if it doesn't add a great deal for me outside.
Turd.
Yeah.
Brendan.
Yeah. This is it's average at best. It's another one of those, like you said, it's one of those UK games where they just slapped it on their NES just to make a quick buck. It just feels like that. Remember Cybernoid we looked at a couple of episodes ago? The NES version, exactly the same thing. It's like it was just, slapped across. Let's just make a quick buck. We don't care whether it makes sense or not. The music is painful. I did not like it. It's, it's like it hurts your ears. The gameplay plays okay. I mean, I didn't have really any issue with gameplay. It played almost exactly like the other ones, but it's so bland. It's just no attention to detail where they could have made it so much better. They just didn't bother, and the fact that they didn't bother even fixing the old laugh system, just shows you that they put no effort into it. It just was slapped across to, kind of fill out that cartridge. And I would avoid this one. If you live in North America, I've spoken to a lot of people, and nobody over here even knows Dizzy at all. Hardly anybody. It's like so rare that somebody actually knows Dizzy, and if they do, it's only like maybe because they saw it, on a YouTube video or something. It's not like they actually played it. So it's as a character, it's like almost non-existent over here.
It's all about Mario Brothers, man. Come on. It's about Mario Brothers.
They love Mario Brothers. Yeah, it's like a mad obsession.
Donkey Kong. Right?
Oh, Donkey Kong. Yeah. I don't get it, but anyway. And
what about Zool, mate? Yeah. They don't even mention Zool or
no. They don't know what Zool is.
I wish I didn't.
I hate Zool.
Whatever.
It's a horrible game.
Yeah, so NES version, you can skip that one.
Yeah. Which one's worse, the NES or the Amstrad? If you had to pick one, hard one, yeah.
I would. I don't know.
The NES at least does something different. And if you got rid of the Amstrad version, you'd still have the Spectrum version to go back to. So I guess technically,
I'd go NES.
That would do it. Yeah, at least it doesn't slow down.
It
does have flicker.
Yeah,
have flicker, unfortunately. But.
That's true.
Yeah, that was a tricky question, though. I think. All right, cool. All right, we'll go Atari ST. Did all of you play that one?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
Did I?
Or
Did I
did you
play?
watch
No, I
it?
don't think I did. I think I watched the Atari one.
Okay, that's cool.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, because it can be tricky to emulate. I should have sent you something to play it, but I'll go with this one then. Actually, you know what? Let's probably go for the Amiga because my notes work off the Amiga. We'll do that. Sorry. Okay. All right. I found it had nice, colourful graphics, great music by Alistair Brimble. Controls work great. The tough game, as obviously, because you only got one life. Amiga screens seem to be different to the 8-bit versions. I think they changed it around a little bit. There were bees and birds to avoid in this one as well. Game still holds up today. I think this would be great on Nintendo Switch. This version, if they just poured it straight on there, but added extra lives and a power bar, I think it would do really well. You know what? I really liked this a lot. I think the Amiga version is really, really good. And there is an Amiga CD version, as Brendan mentioned to me before. It's just the same game. It's because it's on a compilation.
Yeah.
So, but I really liked it. I love the music, which shall show now. So nice that bottom end as well. It's in time. It doesn't slow down. I really like that. Yeah. I really like. I think this is one of the more refined versions of the game. Sorry, 8-bit versions, but I do prefer this. Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think definitely the best looking version that I played. This is what the NES version should have looked like, really.
Yeah.
It probably couldn't output quite as much detail, but even when you look at the trees and stuff, that like two-tone on the shading and there's flowers growing out everywhere. I mean, it looks like a lived-in world, whereas the NES version just looked like nothing, just really bland. The only thing I had with it, again, this is just because I played so much of that original, is Dizzy not controlling the same. I think they've kind of put a kibosh on Dizzy's rolling around like an absolute lunatic when you land on any uneven surface, which is what the Spectrum death's mostly related to. You don't seem to have that. He's got like a much more fixed jump, which certainly for people who haven't played that much Dizzy, this is probably the best one to jump in on. And the only thing that's really stopping me from saying this is the best version is it's just not the one I've played anywhere near as much as the other ones. But it is.
You've got your rose tinted glasses on, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah.
It is just a case of, when you play like an arcade game and then you play a port that looks very similar, but it just doesn't feel quite right. It's literally just that. But yeah, I love the improvements that they've made to it. Funnily enough, what I found odd was like the NES version does give you a few more visual clues that this Amiga version doesn't for some reason. So like there's a bridge that you come across quite early on, and the center of that bridge, you drop out to get to an area further down. On the NES version, it's pretty clearly different colored. Okay. And on the Amiga version, it isn't. And it's one of the issues that I have with Dizzy games, certainly on the Spectrum, is sometimes it does not signpost where you're supposed to do something. But the NES version, it does. And on the Amiga version, it doesn't, even though the Amiga is clearly more detailed. So I don't know if they got feedback at some point to make things like that more obvious. But I found it strange it wasn't here when the Amiga version does look so good in comparison to that NES version. So yeah, that's my slight observation there for you.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, I thought this was actually my favorite one, and I'd never played it before. And the graphics are really nice. Got that, that 16-bit kind of classic era look to it. When it comes to like, that kind of that kind of like platformy kind of deal, the cartoony mascot thing. It feels like I'm going home. When I want to play it. The music is great too. Nice pumping. I think the C64 one's still a little bit better though. But it's good. It plays well, and now that you mention it, about the jumping, I think that's probably why I liked it more, because the jumping is a bit more precise. Yes. And I remember when I was playing the C64 version, because that's the one obviously I played the most, Dizzy's like rolling around like a madman, like you just like going down those rocks and everything. I was like, what the hell?
Stop!
Yeah, just stop. Where are you going? I just jumped. Give me a break. Yeah, so this one, it definitely dials it back. So it feels more like classic platformy style. So it's easier to play. And, yeah, I like it. This is, I would say it's my favorite version out of all of them. But, I never played Dizzy, like a lot back in the day. So I don't have any like super nostalgia towards any version. So, yeah, so this is one I probably would say I enjoyed the most out of all of them.
Nice. I agree. It's just refined. It just feels clean and refined. So. Okay, so lucky last is the ST version. So I went into this. It's a lot like the Amiga version. I found it ran a little bit faster, it's a touch faster, but I liked that. And I really like the AY chip version of this. It's quite different to the Specky version, and Amstrad obviously. I'll play it. Let me just bring it up. So it's a bit touch faster.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's. Well, I better stop playing that. Okay. Yeah, I liked it. I did like it. I did like the Amiga version a touch better. I just think it's a little bit more clean. Like it's just a little bit better. ST version though is great. I'll probably put it up as my second favorite version out of them all. But yeah, there's nothing much else to say because it's pretty much identical. Besides, the graphics are the same. Just the only thing the difference is a little bit faster, and the AY chip. Brendan?
Yeah, exactly. I really couldn't find much difference here. I mean, the music a little bit different, but as far as the game goes, it's almost identical. I didn't find any. I think it's good. I mean, there's nothing. It's almost as good as the Amiga. I would definitely also go for the Amiga one just a little bit more. Just seems a little bit, just. I like the music more, so that would just be the factor. They would just push it a little bit more towards the Amiga. But besides that, if you got an ST and you like Dizzy, then this is a pretty good version.
I find it quite strange that, like, it's like how can I say, it's kind of unfair to the 8-bit version seeing that this game belongs on there. I find that they're better on the 16-bit.
They're almost different games, though, because the puzzles change and stuff. The layouts change. Yeah. It's weird that there's not many games I can think of that have had that kind of evolution. I guess where they've taken the original game and they've made some things better, but refused to give you more lives, even though it definitely needed to give you more lives.
Yeah, that's strange. So you didn't get to play it. So what's your observation on the ST version? You said you watched the video.
The only thing, I was the same with you guys. It was a case of this looks exactly the same as the Amiga version, so I wasn't missing out. Am I right in thinking it's slightly more compressed visually? I'm not sure if it could just be the YouTube video that I'm watching.
YouTube
to be fair.
video. I didn't really notice that.
Yeah.
No. Well, in that being the case, no, it looks lovely. Yeah, it runs a little tick above the Amiga version. Oh, the video has just uncompressed, so it was definitely the video. Yeah, nothing else to add really. It looks like a nice version of that particular type of version of Treasure Island Dizzy, of which there seems to be multiple.
But yeah, well, there you go. There was a port to the Jaguar as well, which was the Atari ST port from what I can see. So there was no point. But I think it looked laggy, didn't it, when we saw the playthrough?
Yeah.
It looked stuttery. So who knows if it was the stream or if that was how the game ran. But I personally wouldn't spend that much money on a Dizzy game for the Jag, unless you're a Dizzy collector. That's me.
Yeah, seems pointless.
Yeah. You shouldn't own a Jag anyway. Ooh. Oh, scathing. Jokes, people. Jokes. Just jokes.
Cancelled.
Well, that's it. Yeah. So that's it. That's it. We're done. Before we head off, would you like to shout out anyone, Dave, at all?
Who would I like to shout out? I will shout out What Ho Snorkers, because he doesn't get enough love for his absolutely insane make it at home videos. He does he basically takes typing games for the ZX Spectrum and he types them in and then he improves them and he does all of this in an array of costumes that he's bought himself.
Okay.
The guy's an absolute lunatic, but he's a treasure and a delight. So what Ho Snorkers on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find him on there.
Cool.
Oh.
Brendan, any shout-outs?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Louis at Retro Gamer Nation. He always gives the old podcast a nice plug in his videos. So thanks a lot, Louis. And we're going to be collaborating on a whole bunch of videos. So I've already been in one of his episodes of his roundup. So he's going to be in a series on my channel also. So if you like Retro Gamer Nation and 64K, then you're in for a good time pretty soon.
Yeah, that top low. I actually had lunch with him yesterday, so we had a nice big
nice
chicken parmesan. Actually, it wasn't yesterday; it was Friday. It would be yesterday for you guys. But yeah, he's doing well. Louis doing well too. So yeah, all right, and
cool.
Yeah. Shout out to Gariana as always for helping us with our pictures for our podcast. Jeroen Tel for letting us use his themes for the podcast, and just everyone that's hung around. I mean, we still had consistent hits while we were away for 2 months, so thank you for the support. It's been great. I was quite surprised. You know, a lot of people just sort of stray away when nothing happens, but it was pretty consistent. So thank you so much for listening in and tuning in, and remember, share away. So thanks everyone for sticking by us. Next episode,
got some good episodes.
Yeah.
Good episodes coming up.
That's right, and some cool guests, and we got a couple of ideas to adjust things up this year. So yeah, all right. Well, with that, everyone, thank you for joining us, and take care. Until next time, bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.